Hey, Opie.
Opie's very excited because he has a good sniffer on him. So he knows that I was cooking baked potatoes for him, and he knows that I brought this into the house. So that's what he's so excited about. Yeah, they're all very excited about it. But I'm going to put it back out in the freezing porch. It's just here as a prop. So what I'm basically saying is I haven't had my morning breakfast yet. I woke up late. It's 5:38 and so I'm just getting my morning breakfast ready now. And I am showing that what I will have for breakfast is my glass of water with the turmeric, black pepper, ginger, lime, and asparagus, which is horrible. Because normally what I did before I started juicing is I would just pitch out those parts of the asparagus, the part that you break off the end and they're tough. Pitch them into the yard, compost away, and I felt virtuous because I was like, oh, well, I'm composting. Well, it's a waste. Juice it first. So, anyway, so that's what I do now. I force myself to juice this, and it tastes terrible. So that'll go into my morning juice today rather than the cabbage. And asparagus is an excellent prebiotic food. So that's another reason why I'm having this today, is because I will be talking about this book. So this is Whole Body Microbiome by B.Brett, Finlay, OC, PhD, and Jessica M. Finlay, PhD. And I'm going to mention something from here later. I remembered what I was going to say, didn't write it on a sticky note, and then I forgot. And then I remembered one thing that I want to read out of here, though. So I will remember that part, hopefully. So, and my breakfast will be finished with this. And since this isn't an organic apple, I will be peeling it before I eat it. But it's still going to be delicious. Yesterday I got this apple from the furniture depot at the Salvation Army. And I know it's going to be delicious because I had one yesterday. I had, my friend Barney, who volunteers there, he was going to take out this apple that was bashed up and throw it in the garbage. And I said, are you going to throw that in the garbage? And he said, yep, I can't give it out like that. And I said, well, I'll eat it. Don't throw it away. So I took it and I chopped off the bits that were bashed up. Bun thought they were great, and I ate the rest of the apple, and it was delicious. So, I mean, I'm accustomed to having Granny Smith apples. Those are my favorite. The tartar the better. I really like tart apples, but this was like candy. And lately, since I've been eating all sorts of things that I shouldn't have, not this though. I don't know how I've been able to resist that, because it's in my porch. And I have been meaning to bring it over to Bob, but I brought Bob a blueberry pie yesterday instead. So it can sit there and be frozen in the porch for a while, but the weather's going to be warming up, so I'm going to have to bring it to him one of these days. So, unless James is going to eat it. Do you want the cheesecake?
I'm not a big fan of cheesecakes.
That's a good thing, because James is lactose intolerant, so that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're going to talk about the whole body microbiome. The first person listed there, B.Brett Finlay. He's a microbiology prof at UBC, and his daughter Jessica specializes in environmental gerontology and health geography. 1. Gut microbiomes. No, gut. First thing in the morning, this is going to be really tough for you. And I have the option of coffee here because I got this from the Furniture Depot yesterday. Because my friend Barney, he makes coffee for everybody. So he says that he has to throw out half the pot if I don't drink any. Which doesn't really make me feel like drinking any lately, but still I guess I took it home, so I guess Maybe I am influenced by that, not wanting to waste it. I don't know. But he says it's decaf. Anyway, so, starting again. Whole body microbiome. Page 1. Gut microbes are involved in asthma, obesity, CBD, and play a role in aging throughout the body. Everything from wrinkles to Alzheimer's disease and systemic inflammation has microbial links. 5. Antioxidants control free radicals, cause aging at cellular levels. Calorie restriction extends lifespan and minimizes age-related chronic diseases in rats, mice, fish flies, worms, and yeast. Hormone supplements treat menopausal symptoms. 6. Microbes made the original oxygen in the atmosphere. Your zip code is one of the best predictors of health and longevity. That's a quote. Due to the microbes present there. 7. Microbes can keep your gut. You know what? I wrote down the wrong word there, but I'm sure it's gums. Gums healthier, bones and muscles stronger, and protect brain from Alzheimer's and dementia. Top 10 causes of death in U.S. are heart disease, cancer, chronic lower respiratory disease, accidents, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, influenza, and pneumonia, nephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and nephrosis, and intentional self-harm, suicide, and microbial involvement in all but accidents. 11. Microbes break down food to release energy and nutrients. They keep the immune system functioning, protect against pathogens that we constantly come in contact with. Age causes an increase in inflammatory microbes and a decrease in helpful microbes. This increases low-grade inflammation throughout the body and causes inflammaging. Longevity is 25% genetic and 75% environmental. 15. Current cleaning and hygiene standards in private and institutional settings, especially hospital nursing homes, tend to promote multi-resistant, pathogens instead of supporting beneficial microbes. 23. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers kill most microbes on skin, good and bad, but cannot kill spores of Clostridium difficile, difficile? How do you say that, James?
C.
difficile, maybe?
Difficile.
Difficile.
The Latin would be something like difficile.
A common pathogen in healthcare settings. 25. Sebum. Oil secreted through hair follicles can cause acne if trapped in follicle. The cause is changing hormone level. With relative testosterone increase, more sebum is produced. In menopausal women, cells regenerate more slowly and acne lasts longer than teen acne. S. epidermis keeps acne in check. Succinic acid, a fatty acid fermentation product of S. epidermis, inhibits acne growth. Topical benzoyl peroxides will also treat acne. 26. Sebaceous glands produce less oil as we age. Women gradually produce less oil after age 30. Men's decrease slightly after age 80. Treat by bathing less often in moderate temperature water. Lactobacillus planarum moistens dry skin. It's available in fermented foods, example sauerkraut and kimchi. 28. Bacterial toxin Clostridium botulinum lives in anaerobic soil and produces deadliest toxin on the planet. Botulism toxin works by blocking neurotransmitter release, which paralyzes nerves. Botox is now America's #1 cosmetic procedure. 2 billion in sales per year. Repeated use causes skin sagging. 29. Lactobacillus johnsonii decreases sunburn. Researchers eradicated one buttock and used the other side as a non-tanned control. Probiotics decrease inflammation associated with sunburn. Blue-green algae protects itself from UV rays. This bacteria makes UV-absorbing molecules. Microsporin like amino acids, MAAs, and cytonemin. Companies already use MAAs to make bio sunscreens and anti-wrinkle creams. 30. Lactobacillus reuteri increases sebum production. This probiotic may work by decreasing inflammation and by increasing an anti-inflammatory cytokine IL-10. Male mice had thicker, more lustrous fur, and females had shinier hair. The daily dose must be large, 1 billion to 100 billion CFUs. It can be taken with food, but not with hot beverage, which cooks bacteria. Adults with dandruff have higher levels of Malassezia restricta, Staphylococcus sp species, and decreased counts of C. acnes. The Malassezia fungus lives on most adult scalps and causes increased growth of skin cells. Those who took Lactobacillus paracasei had less dandruff within 5 weeks and decreased Malassezia. 31. Number and activity of sweat glands decreases as we age. Aluminum salts temporarily block secretion by plugging sweat glands. They are usually dissolved in ethanol. Both ethanol and aluminum are antibacterial, and antiperspirants increase bacterium associated with body odor. 34. Heliogard 365 and Helion nori are the biosunscreens that use cyanobacteria and protect against skin damage. 37. The inside of our intestinal tract is actually considered outside our bodies. It's a tube that runs through us. Leaky gut, holes in tube, impact the brain. Microbial products that leak into body and increase inflammation. 38. Blood-brain barriers formed by special endothelial cells that line brain's blood vessels. BBB keeps most things out of brain. Microbes are needed to fully develop barrier. Germ-free animals have a more permeable BBB. Microbes influence expression of key proteins that form seals between endothelial cells, gluing cellular joints together to make barrier. Germ-free animals with leaky BBBs are colonized by intestinal microbes, and then their BBBs permeability decreases. Barrier seals itself. Dementia care costs billions. Someone with Alzheimer's disease tends to live 4 to 8 years after diagnosis, though some may live 20 years. 41. High levels of circulating sugars are not healthy for the body and brain. Diabetics, increased sugar level in blood, are 2 times as likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is unofficially called type 3 diabetes. Alzheimer's patients have 3 times the amount of lipopolysaccharides, surface molecule of bacteria, circulating in blood. LPS increases inflammation. 42. Brain cells respond to inflammation by increasing production of a molecule called amyloid beta. This forms a spider web-like tangle of protein plaque that builds up between nerve cells. 44. Tobacco use deprives brain cells of oxygen, nutrients. Coffee is associated with decreased risk of Alzheimer's, so I guess he likes drinking coffee. 45. Those who eat high amounts of vegetables, especially dark green leafy, have slower declines in cognitive abilities. Berries protect brains. Grape berry digest and produce phenolic acids via intestinal microbiota. This increased accumulation of 2 key acids in brain. 3-hydroxybenzoic acid and 3-hydroxyphenyl propionic acid, which protects against Alzheimer's disease. The MIND diet includes green leafy vegetables every day, other vegetables at least once a day, whole grains 3 times a day, nuts every day, glass of wine every day, beans every other day, berries at least 2 times a week, especially blueberry and strawberry, poultry at least 2 times a week, fish at least 1 time a week, EVOO, and limit red meat, butter, margarine, cheese, fried or fast food, refined sugar, and refined carbs of other kind. 48. Early clues of Parkinson's are constipation in gut and loss of sense of smell. It doesn't generally affect lifespan. Alpha-synuclein protein is a key with PARC. I'm saying there. Anyway, look to page 48. 49. Substantia nigra, area of brain associated with muscle control by producing dopamine, is slowly destroyed. Gut expresses the alpha-synuclein misfolded. Oh boy. What is that? Misfolded in gut. Misfoldings synuclein moves up vagus nerve into brain, causes plaque buildup, with leads to destruction of dopamine-producing cells. 52. Smoking and coffee drinking, decreased risk of Parkinson's. Weird, hey? They're not sure why. They think maybe it's because coffee stimulates the bowel movement, but they don't know. It's just weird. 53. Anxiety typically precedes depression, and at least 50% of depressed older adults have anxiety disorder. Transfers of feces from stressed, anxious, or depressed rodents in normal lab animals cause group to become stressed or depressed. Depressed patients have increased levels of inflammatory microbes, Proteobacter and Bacteroidetes that make LPS, and decreased levels of Firmicutes which produce anti-inflammatory effects. 54. Isovaleric acid produced by microbes were increased in depressed patients. Isovaleric acid resembles the neurotransmitter GABA, which can cross BBB, where it can affect neurotransmitter function by competing with the GABA receptor. Increased bacteroidetes and decreased lacnospiraceae. 55. Those treated with antibiotic had increased depression and anxiety, chronic stress linked to insomnia, weight gain, increased heart disease, disrupted immune and digestive system. Stress increases gut permeability. Exposure to cold increases stress, as does public speaking. Unhealthy diet increases chronic inflammation and depression. Mediterranean diet decreases depression. Probiotics decrease depression, anxiety, and stress. 57. Controllable risk factor for smoke are increased blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, cholesterol, alcohol, smoking. Uncontrollable factors: age, if you're over 65. Gender, men have more, women's are more deadly. Race, gender, African American have increased risk. And family history. When you eat red meat, the microbiotic in the meat convert components of meat into specific compounds called trimethylamine or TMA. The liver then converts these compounds into a derivative compound, trimethylamine N oxide or TMAO, which then causes plaque accumulation and CVD. Without red meat its microbes, these compounds are not made, which drastically decreases the incidence of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Eating red meat enriches the microbiota that produce these problematic compounds, and the differences in microbiota and TMAO levels can, in a crude sense, be used to provide an indication for risk of stroke. Vegans and vegetarians who eat a lot of plant fiber have little to no CVD. We'll see about that. 59. Antibiotic use after stroke, decreased brain injury due to increase in regulatory T cells and decrease in delta gamma T cells. Early tooth loss, that's page 65, before 35 years of age correlates with increased dementia risk. Those who don't brush teeth daily have a 22 to 65% increased risk of dementia than those who brush 3 times a day. Saliva is antibacterial. Saliva production slows with age. 66. Oral microbiotic live-in biofilms built from extracellular polysaccharides, EPS, dental plaque. Most common first colonizers are Streptococcus. Old biofilm that calcifies is tartar. Common infectious disease: periodontitis, gum disease, and dental caries, cavities. Porphyromonas gingivalis and Treponema denticola are responsible for periodontitis. Germ-free lab animals don't get periodontitis. 67. Lactobacilli and bifidobacteria can be harmful to those who consume sugary foods, fermentable carbs, frequently. These bacteria use the sugar to produce acids. They are acidogenic and aciduric members of deep plaque that cause dental caries. 70. Salivarius is marketed as a probiotic chewing gum. 75. Smoking favors early colonization of pathogens that cause periodontal disease. 76. Smoking kills beneficial microbes in the mouth. 80. Every day we breathe in 8,000 liters of air. Lungs made up of alveoli branches to increase surface area of the lungs. If all of the alveoli were flattened, the surface area would be 30 times that of our skin. Muscles and tissues keeping airway open can lose elasticity and alveoli can become baggy. 81. Aging decreases breathing, but poor heart health and obesity cause more breathing troubles. 82. Cells of lung push mucus upwards so it can be swallowed and digested. Mucociliary action. Alveolar macrophages destroy harmful microbes in lungs. 84. Gut microbes encountered early in life can have an impact on development of asthma. Lactobacillus rentieri and Lactobacillus plantarum decrease allergic airway inflammation. Lactobacillus casei can aid treatment of bacterial and viral pneumonia in mice. 94. 2/3 of Canadians don't get the flu vaccine. 96. Intestinal microbiota synthesize vitamins for us, including vitamin B12 and K. Helicobacter pylori lives in stomach. 1 to 10,000 microbes per milliliter in the stomach. Most common microbes in the stomach are proteobacteria, including H. pylori, Firmicutes, Bacteroidetes, Actinobacter, and Fusobacteria. 99. Lately, doctors blame and try to destroy H. pylori in the gastrointestinal issues, but it's really the canary in the coal mine, he says. Page 100. H. pylori colonized over half world's populations, considered the most common human pathogen in the world. We get it from our mothers. Its flagellum allows it to burrow deep into stomach mucus. It produces urea, which neutralizes stomach acid. It has a syringe-like system that allows it to inject virulence factors into stomach cells to reprogram them to suit the microbe's purpose. 101. Otzi had whipworm, intestinal parasite, was lactose intolerant, CBD, bad knees from extensive walking. His H. pylori strain was more like Asian strain than European strains. The current European strain originated from an African strain, which arrived after Otzi's time. 102. H. pylori is the only microbe that is a class A carcinogen. H. pylori causes 80% of gastric cancers. Most with this cancer are 60 to 80 years old, though. H. pylori protects against asthma, obesity, allergies, infections, irritable bowel disease. Now, H. pylori is present in fewer than 5% of children in US, Germany, and Scandinavia. 109. Centenarians, microbiomes dominated by Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes. Supercentenarians have increased level of beneficial microbes. Akkermansia, Bifidobacterium, and Christensenalaceae. 110. Stomach has few microbes. 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth bacteria per gram. Small intestine has more basic pH and is divided into 3 parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Jejunum has 10 to the 5th to 10 to the 6th microbes, and ileum has 10 to the 8th to 10 to the 9 microbes. Large intestine has 10-inch bacteria per gram. What in the world was I writing there? Of intestine contents? I don't know. Look to page 110. We have the largest number of bacteria in the body, in the lower bowel, 10 trillion. It's depleted of oxygen and has a basic pH. Microbes make up 30% of fecal matter, 100 billion microbes in a gram of feces, but microbes collectively weigh 2 to 5 pounds. Increased weight of brain. No, equals the weight of brain. 113. Mucus is composed of glycoproteins, combo of complex sugars, carbs linked to proteins. This coats intestinal wall. Akkermansia mucinophila is a beneficial microbe thought to prevent diseases associated with mucus thinning. By eating the mucus, the microbe triggers a feedback loop that increases mucus production and thickens mucus layer. When layer thins, permeability increases, resulting in inflammation, dysbiosis that can cause tissue damage and disease. 116. Need kidneys to remove waste and excess fluid. They also remove acid, balance, salt, and minerals, nerves, muscles, and other tissues. Need kidneys. 120. TBD patients have decreased bacteroidetes, Firmicutes, and the butyrate-producing Faecalibacterium prosnitzii, and increased inflammatory microbes such as proteobacteria and microbes that produce hydrogen sulfide, which damages bowel tissue. Fecal transfers improve symptoms, especially for ulcerative colitis. Feces from IBD patients transplanted into healthy mice equals mice with intestinal inflammation and other IBD symptoms. 125. He says vegetarians fart more often. Now, I notice that when I'm eating a crappy vegetarian diet, which lately hasn't involved this, which thank goodness, but it's involved this, and it's involved lots of like, the other day I had Campbell's cream and mushroom soup because it reminds me of my grandma, because my dead grandma, my Ukrainian grandma, the one that I knew very well, that loved me a lot. So anyway, and I know I shouldn't have that, but I end up eating stuff like that. So when I have a bad diet, then yes, I am more gassy. When I have a diet that is whole food, plant-based, and ultra healthy, ultra vegan actually, then I have the opposite effect. If I have lots of healthy probiotic bacteria in my diet, I think that's the key. I think if you just increase that and eat like this is going to feed my probiotic bacteria, right? So when I have my kimchi later on today, I already have some asparagus planned for dinner because I'm juicing this stuff, the juice from the stems, but I've saved the good stuff, right? And I will be eating that with my probiotic bacteria later. So anyway, and when I do that, I find, like, because I don't know, I do these things and then I notice, I write down what I've noticed, right? So anyway, when I was doing that detox, which I put everything I was eating online, so you could follow it just as I did and see the results for yourself. So that was, what was that, 2017, I think? The month of December, maybe around there. Maybe I started in November. I can't remember. Anyway, but I noticed that after a while, I stopped farting. I wasn't farting. I don't know why. But I can't explain it, but I was eating this sort of thing with, this for breakfast. And I don't know what I was eating. So mostly lentils, I think, but they were sprouted. Anyway, I was doing a lot better.